The mile marker bled numbers. I know that reads like a fever dream, but the bright red digits dripping down reflective metal are why I still refuse to drive Nevada's Highway 50 after dusk. I'm Harper, 24, grad student in environmental chemistry at Reno. A spring break brewery crawl sounded healthier than thesis edits, so I crammed into Zoe's lease Subaru Forester, aimed for Colorado's Front Range. The crew, Zoe, geology major, drives like the Earth's crust, is chasing her. Marco, TikTok travel vlogger, terrified his algorithm will forget him. Ray, Air Force dropout, keeps a ham radio in his backpack in case the grid hiccups. We left Fallon at 3 p.m., sun sizzling the Alkali Flats. Highway 50 earns the nickname, loneliest road. Honestly, no shoulders, no cell bars, just sagebrush and busted payphones pretending it's still 1994. About 90 miles in, the Subaru pinged, low coolant. Next sign promised gas, food. Why, 3 miles. None of us remembered that exit, but the needle crawled hot, so we took it. Exit 239 spiraled onto a frontage road. At its end, a cinder block diner welded to a rust-striped gas station. Fluorescent letters buzzed, "Try Lucky's last stop," the Y flickering like a dying heartbeat. 2 pumps, canopy sagging, no cars, not even tire tracks. Inside, Lucky smelled of scorched coffee and wet copper. Red vinyl booths lined the windows. Every tabletop held half-drunk colas, sweating pinkish condensation, as if patrons had vanished mid-sip. A woman rose behind the counter, 50-ish, yellow name badge that read Lucky in embossed braille. Her eyes looked milky, yet she watched us perfectly. "Car trouble," she purred, voice like an old answering machine. Zoe nodded. "Coolant leak." Lucky gestured down a hallway. "Restrooms got water. Pump 2's still friendly. Premium only." Ray frowned. "Friendly." She smiled wider. "She'll see." I passed a doorway labeled "Employees Only" and glimpsed rows of CRT monitors showing live feeds of Highway 50, empty except for red timestamps dripping like fresh paint, counting down from 0 hours 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Outside, Zoe squeezed the handle of pump 2. A wet burp echoed inside the hose, followed by a child's voice from the nozzle itself. 4 minutes. Zoe dropped it, like it burned. Ray's radio crackled. My own voice, pre-recorded. "Harper, don't inhale." Then a dull gasp. Marco kept filming, delighted. Lucky emerged with a candy stripe pitcher. "Coolant for guests," she said, pouring viscous blue fluid into Zoe's reservoir. It smelled sweet, underturned with rot. "Payment's easy," she told Marco's lens. "Keep driving till you hit mile marker 356, then decide." "Decide what?" I asked. Her voice became 2 layered, one speaking forward, one in reverse. Left lane for keeping secrets, right lane for confessing them. The pumps clicked offline. The diner lights died. Only the canopies failing, yaw glowed. We piled in. Engine turned over smoother than ever. Temper gauge perfect. The GPS blanked to featureless gray. Marco's playback showed Lucky never on screen, just our reactions to empty air. At mile marker 356, the asphalt split unannounced, 2 lanes diverging like a fork, no signs, just fresh paint fading into darkness. The Subaru hesitated, then veered right. "Guess we're confessing," Zoe joked thinly. A crimson leady billboard bloomed. "What would you bleed to stay relevant?" Marco swallowed hard, thumb hovering over record. Ray's radio spat Zoe's laughter, chopped and looped, until it sounded like a siren. He yanked the battery, but the speaker kept screaming, metal housing warm like breathing skin. "I'm done," Zoe hissed, forcing the wheel left. The car resisted, power steering groaning, tires screeched. Suddenly we were in the left lane, the secret-keeping lane. Fog rose, swallowing starlight. Dashboard clock rolled 0 hours 1 minute and 7 seconds and began counting down, the same digits dripping on Lucky's monitors. Marco's window fogged from the outside. In the condensation, an unseen finger scrawled, "Tell them." He killed the camera for the first time all trip. The fog vomited a shape, a green road sign, Tatler's Gulch, next exit. Beneath it, an upside-down sheriff cruiser, wheels still spinning, though axle rusted. Inside, the driver's skull grinned, jaw wired open by a gas pump nozzle rammed through the mouth. Zoe gagged. She stabbed the brakes. Pedal sank to the floor. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 30 seconds. Ray shoved his radio at me. Once a voice pattern. "Give it something true," I blurted. "I falsified soil samples for my fellowship, published them. Grant money pays this trip." 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 12 seconds. Countdown paused. Fog retreated, revealing the 2 lanes converging into a single bridge over black water that isn't on any map. Halfway across, a toll booth hung Lucky's yellow badge, dripping blue coolant. Each tire thumped unseen ridges. Thump 4 lies, thump 3 friendships, thump 2 careers, thump 1 life, then silence. On the far shore, Highway 50 resumed. Dashboard clock reset. Ray's radio dead. Marco's footage showed 0 seconds recorded since Lucky's. Sunrise broke over the basin. We reached a busy truck stop in Ellie. Under the hood, the coolant reservoir was empty, but a crumpled yellow badge lay inside. Braille dots spelled E-exit. Ray sold the Subaru. New owner reports the radio only picks up 000 FM, garbled crying. Marco wiped his channels after followers spammed a broken link titled "Left Lane." Zoe dropped geology for theology, says maps lie but scripture might not. Me. The fellowship board audited my data. Anonymous tip. Funding revoked. Degree in limbo. Every morning my inbox pings a meeting reminder that doesn't exist. Subject line, counting down from 12 hours. It always reaches 0, then starts again. Last month I drove to exit 239. There's no off-ramp, no diner, no Lucky, just a bent mile marker, smeared with faded reddish streaks. Maybe rust, but some nights, when my phone buzzes 0 hours 4 minutes and 12 seconds, I taste coolant on my breath and hear a waitress ask which lane I'll bleed on next. If you see a fork in the loneliest road, choose neither. Idle there in the dust until the countdown stops or the sun rises, whichever forgives you first. Second story. The highway's asphalt peeled back like fresh skin. No potholes, no construction cones, just the blacktop curling up in slow wet strips beneath our headlights, as though something underneath was tired of hiding. I'm Mara, 23, forensic psych senior at Georgia State. Spring break 2024 was supposed to be 10 hours of karaoke and boiled peanut pit stops on our drive from Atlanta to New Orleans. Instead, somewhere along Route 84 between Dothan and the Chattahoochee River, we found the place where pavement dies screaming. The crew Shay, my roommate, automotive tech prodigy, who'd rather fix a carburetor than her dating life. Desmond, pre-law debate champion, allergic to silence, live streams almost everything. Ara, biology grad student, carries formaldehyde vials, like other people carry gum. We'd borrowed Shay's latest project, a rebuilt 1994 Mercury Grand Marquis she nicknamed Orpheus because he drags everyone to hell and back. The trunk rattled with subs, the AC wheezed, but the engine purred like a drunk tiger. At 10:07 p.m., the sky turned jaundice yellow. No sunset does that. Ira's forehead pressed to the glass. He said the color looked like bile under a microscope. Desmond's phone lost signal, even for offline maps. He cursed, pivoted to record us with his backup GoPro. Free horror content. If we break down, he joked. No one laughed. 10 miles later, the road began to blister. The first section bubbled upward, then split lengthwise with a sound like wet fabric torn close to the ear. Asphalt petals folded aside, exposing an underlayer of glistening red clay shot through with something that pulsed. Shay slowed. Heat buckle, maybe. The speedometer needle stuttered. The engine hiccuped. Ira tapped the glass. Stop, sample that. Formaldehyde nerd. We clambered out. Night insects should have been shrilling, but the dark felt vacuum-sealed. I crouched to touch the exposed clay. It was warm, almost feverish, and beneath it, something shifted, like muscle flexing under skin. A mile marker ahead glowed. Mem 0. Impossible. We were at least 65 miles east of the state line. The 00 blinked, and a low groan rose from underground, vibrating the road and my molars. Desmond's GoPro beeped. Memory card full. He popped the hatch to swap it, and found the spare cards gone, replaced by a single VHS cassette, labeled before in oily Sharpie. Who packed a tape? He demanded. None of us owned a VCR. The scream arrived then, not human, not animal, but metal, tortured rebar, twisting under tons of concrete. Behind us, the asphalt unzipped in a jagged line, lanes tearing open toward the horizon. Something smelled of hot pennies and burned oil. Shay floored it. Orpheus roared forward, tires spitting gravel where the asphalt peeled away. In the rear view, headlights chased us. 6 pairs, maybe 7, old squad cars, their roof bars gone, but mirrors still gleaming. No engines, just an electric hum, like an MRI coil. Desmond filmed, while shouting timestamps. Ira fished a vial of formaldehyde, muttering about histological impossibilities. Marvo clutched the dash and watched the road shed its surface, like scabs sloughing off living tissue. Up ahead a green sign flickered to life without external light. Welcome to Biopsy County. The population number fluttered like a flip clock, spinning past 999999999. The marker's radio snapped on at full volume. AIM band, 0 station ID. A calm voice spoke with a helium hiss. Sample incoming. Containment protocol. Incision at mile 0. Hold breath. Ira jammed the power button. It stayed on. He threw the entire head unit onto the floor. Voice kept talking through its severed wires, speaker cones blooming pink, sticky liquid filling paper diaphragms. Shay swore, cranked the wheel, as the lane narrowed into a single bridge spanning a yawning gulch. The hand-painted sign read, Slide for entry. Stop for shorter. Halfway across, floodlights snapped on beneath the bridge deck, revealing thousands of steel hooks dangling on surgical sutures. Some hooks carried chunks of asphalt, others dripped something paler. Wind off the gulch smelled sickly sweet. Desmond's camera display inverted colors, tinting the world gore red. The chaser cars reached the far end of the bridge and stopped as though repelled by some boundary. Their headlights dimmed simultaneously, leaving only our taillights, and the glow of the hooks. Past the bridge, the road curved into a spiral descent, resembling the threads of a screw. Centerline paint pulsed, like an EKG readout. Chase speed crept to 70, though her foot eased off the gas. The slope compelled motion. Guardrails melted into rib-shaped arches. Beyond them the land sloshed, neither solid nor liquid. I whispered, "This isn't geography." Ira pressed a vial to the window. Condensation inside coated the glass like breath. Desmond turned the camera on me. "Thoughts? We're driving through an autopsy that hasn't accepted. It's dead." The spiral bottomed out into a cavern lit by fluorescence embedded in the rock ceiling, or what looked like rock until it twitched. Road signs here were transparent slabs hung from tendons. Keep reading the lines. They keep you apart. Centerline paint became twin adhesive strips, gluing the tires with muffled pops each rotation. We slowed whether we wanted to or not. Ithra unlatched his seatbelt, cracked the door, and gagged. The floor between lane stripes was covered with thousands of laminated ID badges, driver licenses, student IDs, visitor passes, each pinned by a glistening pushpin, holding them like butterflies in a drawer. Mine lay nearest the wheel well, photo replaced by a still of me, touching the blistered asphalt minutes ago. Issue date blank. Expiry Yupon exit. Iris scooped his badge, slipped it into his coat. The pushing needle wriggled free and rolled under the seat. The road funneled into a tunnel mouth shaped disturbingly like an esophagus. Ridged walls, slick sheen, lights blinking like peristaltic pulses. A yellow gauze chevron above Rid, merge with care. Lane ends in self. Shay jammed the brakes. ABS light flared, but momentum dragged us forward. Desmond rolled down his window. The outside whispered back. Our conversations, in perfect real-time imitation, echoes. He guessed. The whispers changed. Echoes, then laughter in 4 mismatched voices, then Mara repeated in a baby squeal. The car passed beneath the organic arch. Instantly pods of translucent film inflated from the tunnel walls, each containing silhouettes pressed as though mid-scream. The pods closest to the headlights cleared. Inside were police cruisers, tour buses, motorcycles, engulfed in tightening membranes. Their occupants stared out, some petrified, some grinning too wide, mouths stitched shut with yellow paint striping. The tunnel lights dimmed to emergency red. Radio static escalated into a staccato heartbeat that synced with Shay's brake taps. On the dash, the check engine light spelled letters instead, BREATHE, then inverted to HEART. Ira lost it, kicking the glove box, until a road flare rolled out. He cracked it. The tunnel glowed hell orange, pods retreating from the heat like maggots from flame. Shay punched the gas. The tires screamed, freeing from adhesive strips with a skin-peeling sound. Fumes filled the cabin. Halfway through, the tunnel ceiling peeled back, revealing night sky, veined with power lines that spat blue arcs onto the roof of the marquee. Sparks traced patterns, histology slides, cross-sections of muscle, bone, tire rubber, skin. Desmond's camera battery died. He hurled the GoPro. It bounced once, embedding into the tunnel flesh which sealed behind it. Ahead, the egress resembled a surgeon's incision stapled shut by vertical railroad spikes. A single opening barely car-width pulsed open, then clenched. Shay glanced to me. "Or floor, or bail. Forward," I said, not entirely my voice. She dropped the car into neutral, floored the pedal anyway. The engine revved on its own. Ira tossed the flare onto the hood, where it sparked, blinding us. We shot through the gap, Sheet metal screamed as spikes scraped both doors, leaving silver fillets curling. A pain like a needle slid behind my eye. Then cold air. We were back on familiar asphalt. No spiral. No pods. Only a green sign. Thank you for using County 84. Please carry your remains responsibly. The odometer read 0, added miles. Shay braked hard. Kira bolted, retching bile and formaldehyde. Desmond opened the trunk. Inside sat an upright VCR wired to a car battery. Humming. The before tape already playing. Blue screen reading. Uto eject upon returning. On the tiny monitor, grain danced. Then footage. Our marquee idling at the gulch entrance. Its windows fogged red. Seconds later, red clay-coated hands erupted from below, folding the road over the car like pastry dough. A final frame froze on my face inside, pressing palms to the glass, screaming silently as the tape ended. The VCR clicked, ejected, after written across the cassette in wet road paint. Still tacky. The tape hissed, hot, brand new. Shay shut the trunk, eyes tearing. We dump it, Desmond whispered. If we do, how will we know which footage is real? No answer. Silence broke a mile later when the radio revived. One last directive in Lucky's helium hiss. Tissue accepted. Compensate miles in blood at your leisure. The signal died. Headlights behind us never reappeared. But the asphalt stayed raw, as if something under the skin waited for the next incision. Third story. The roadside billboard flashed my autopsy photo before I was even dead. I'm Eliana, 22, coastal engineering senior at LSU. Mardi Gras breaks should have been beads and brass bands in New Orleans, but a state trooper alert about parades gone violent convinced us to chase quiet night fishing instead. The planned drive south on Louisiana Highway, one all the way to Grand Isle, cast lines off the pier till dawn, then hustle back for Monday lectures. Easy. The crew Rafi, my twin brother, marine biology geek, who catalogues plankton the way others collect vinyl. Jess, film student, edits horror shorts on her phone, laughs whenever thunder cracks. Ty, diesel mechanic dropout, rebuilt our ride, a moss green 1987 Chevy Suburban nicknamed Bayou Betty. We rolled out of Baton Rouge at 9 p.m. moonless sky, humid enough to choke crawfish. The levee road mirrored the wetlands. Water on both sides glistened like black latex. Cellular bars vanished 10 miles past Thibodeau's. No shock. Marshland swallows signal whole. At 10:41, the first anomaly. A digital billboard perched atop a piling in the bayou, unlit seconds earlier, flared white, and displayed my full legal name, social security digits, and a grayscale headshot that looked exactly like me, but with cheeks sunken and eyelids taped shut. Underneath, time of death, 0 hours, 9 minutes, and 17 seconds. Ty slammed the brakes so hard Jess's stabilizer rig smacked the dash. The billboard flicked back to darkness. Rafi said, maybe it glitched a Morgad reel. I tasted battery acid fear. 8 minutes, 17 seconds, until my stamped time. We accelerated. Highway 1 narrowed onto the Caminada Bay Bridge, a 7-mile ribbon elevated over Blackwater. Halfway, a hurricane evacuation siren yowled somewhere unseen, though forecasts called for clear skies. Red strobes lit fog pockets clinging to the guardrails. The Chevy's radio, off since Homer, powered itself and vomited raw data bursts, modem squeals, NOAA codes, submerged voices, repeating sinkhole open, Jess filmed, grinning found footage gold. Rafi pointed ahead, a toll booth that doesn't exist on maps. Its sign read, Bayou Air, Order, Pay with Pulse. No attendant, just a revolving drum of paper wristbands, each printed with 6-digit timers. Ours showed 0 hours, 5 minutes, and 0 seconds, and immediately began counting down. Ty, spooked, floored it. The booth's boom gate, ribbed like a spine, snapped downward behind the truck, tagging the rear bumper. Metal screamed. The gate curled under us like a tail refusing to let go. Only after 200 yards did it unclench, clattering into the road. The countdown on my wristband bled seconds, literally bled, crimson soaking letters. I yanked it off. Flesh beneath branded the digits, still ticking. Jess directed her phone toward the side mirror. Frothy wake boiled in the bayou, below though no boat passed. Shapes surfaced, traffic sign silhouettes, stop and yield plaques corroded and slick bobbing up like drowned street organs regurgitated by the swamp. At 0 hours 3 minutes and 12 seconds, the bridge flexed. Expansion joints split open. Through the cracks, we saw phosphorescent water swirling clockwise, forming an iris beneath the roadway. Eyes, all of them stared up. Human, alligatory, mechanical, from sediment, where roadkill should rot. Ty shouted. The steering wheel twitched left, not his doing. Horizon lights ahead winked out. The bridge had no shoulder. Guardrail bolts unscrewed themselves, clinking across asphalt. I checked the implanted timer seared on my wrist. 0 hours 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Rafi kneeled, pried floor mats, revealing a square access plate Ty once installed for battery maintenance. Beneath, instead of steel frame, stretched a membrane of translucent tissue, veins pulsing brake fluid red. Rafi pressed a sampling vial against it. The surface goose-pimpled and whispered through the steel. 2 minutes, tastes like bravery. Jess's mic picked it up. Audio levels maxed. Speakers blew. She laughed, bleeding from one ear, still filming. Fog ahead parted, unveiling a way station never built post-Katrina. Fluorescent sign. Certify cargo of blood and secrets. We roared over the scale. The digital readout flashed our combined weight. Exactly passengers, plus unpaid parking tickets, student loan balances, broken promises. Then it subtracted 400 pounds. Ty asked who we lost. A thud answered. The rear hatch indicator glowed open. Rafi unlatched seatbelt, crawled atop duffels. The hatch yawned. Weightlessness sucked air out. Our spare ice chest, the one packed for redfish, hung over void, lid flapping. Inside wasn't bait, but dozens of wristbands spinning their timers at hyperspeed, each reaching 0 with a wet pop before disintegrating. Rafi slammed the latch. It latched around. Emptiness. Tailgate now fused to nothing but night wind. My branded digits ticked 0 hours 0 minutes and 59 seconds. Jess panned across windshield. Road markings up ahead morphed into EKG waveforms. Each heartbeat dip corresponded with my pulse. When my pulse spiked, the road swerved violently. When it dipped, asphalt flattened, but side rails fell away, dropping into chasm. The highway and my cardiac rhythm shared the same conductor. T cursed, killed headlights, instant darkness. Road fluoresced, bioluminescent green, on its own, vein-like striations, illuminating an off-ramp, looping downward in a helix. The sign overhead, construct of PVC bones, read exit 0, vein catheter, we take it or die straight ahead, T hissed. Before we voted, the main span behind us exploded upward, columns of marsh water, and hunks of pavement raining. Something had inhaled the bridge, like spaghetti. Our only path, the glowing helix. We descended. Strobe lights pulsed under water level. We were now below the bayou's surface, yet stayed dry. Fish school silhouettes darted against fluorescent arcs. The Suburban's windows fogged from outside, not condensation but oily fingerprints, etching phrases, pull over, heart, first, timer, 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 12 seconds. The helix ended inside a spherical cavity, a forgotten concrete grain silo, repurposed into a rotary interchange. A stoplight hung in midair, 3 signals all red, cycling heartbeat fast. Beneath the light floated a boat launcher's aluminum ramp, upright like a guillotine blade. A man in a soaked sheriff uniform stood ankle-deep in black water pooling across the floor. Skin pallid, badge rusted. He raised a flaring road baton in salute. Tie braked, tires in water. The baton's red glow painted the interior like a crime scene luminol. The sheriff spoke without lips moving. Clock ran out, but mercy's negotiable. Offload 1 organ. Driver chooses. Jess whispered, half thrilled. Saw style. Love it. Her camera pinged. Storage full. A thumbnail preview showed frames of us later. Broken windshield. Seats empty. Only water and wristbands swirling. Jess's reflection nowhere. Tie revved. Reverse gear grinding. Transmission refused. The sheriff tapped bet onto water. Ripples shaped like dissection diagrams radiated, measuring us. Raffi clutched his sample vial. The tissue from the floor plate, now thrashing like a trapped eel. I felt interior pressure shift, water rising inside door seals, though they hadn't leaked. The branded digits on my wrist hit 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. Skin blistered. The numbers split open, revealing bone. I screamed. Raffi grabbed my arm, jammed the vial against the wound. The tissue inside the glass leaped to my bone gap, knitting flesh, sealing 0 back into wet scar tissue. The branded display reset to 0 hours, 5 minutes, and 0 seconds. My life borrowed 5 more minutes. The sheriff's baton fizzled. He dissolved, uniform deflating. The stoplight turned green. Tie punched gas. The aluminum ramp pivoted downward. We rocketed up its spine, through a membrane that parted like a birth sac, and burst onto fresh asphalt, lit by dawn. Birds shrieked across marsh. In rear view the helix mouth contracted, swallowing sheriff, silo, the whole rotary closed like a valve. My wrist timer kept counting, a private metronome to an unknown second debt, but the billboard that started it all was gone. Only a snapped piling remained, dripping bayou mud. Jess checked her footage corrupted, all but the siren wail and the whispered phrase, sinkhole open. Raffi stared at the sample vial, empty, glass etched, with EKG lines still trembling to my pulse. Tie's knuckles bone white on the wheel, aim due north, anywhere away from Highway 1.